after we did the segment last or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, on Concord, a bunch of people who are pretty excited for it, and I'm guessing have pre-ordered it, came out of the woodwork and started defending it. And some of their points were very, very valid. So for example, at one point I went through the list of heroes that they revealed, and I was going through and I was saying how each of the heroes that they've allowed people to see and try have like 1-to-1 parity with Overwatch characters, right? So like they might have a like a tank that can absorb projectiles and has like an explosive ability or whatever else it may be. And it's like, okay, well, that sounds an awful lot like D.Va. Or they might have a guy that uses a revolver and can deal crazy high, headshot damage, has like a little somersault roll. It's like, okay, well, that sounds a lot like whatever, Cassidy, McCree, whatever it is. And so it's like, okay, well, all of these have 1-to-1 comparisons. And some people commented and were like, hey, I don't know if that's totally fair, because how many archetypes really can there be? Like if somebody's a sniper, yeah, that's what Widowmaker is, but does that necessarily mean that they are just copying it? No, I do think that that's fair to bring up. Does that mean that it's original though? No, I don't think so. I don't think that those go hand in hand, because when you look at a lot of the gameplay footage, I mean, it's pretty clear that there are inspirations taken from various games, but the gunplay certainly feels much more Destiny than it does Overwatch. The time to kills are different. The team balancing and layouts have been shifted. And they've also done this interesting thing where you basically select a roster of characters before you go out into a match like this. And then you have to select from those heroes in the match. You can't select any one of the archetypes or any one of the other heroes in the roster once the match has begun. You've got your pre-selected characters and that's what you're going with. And the idea is that it's meant to prevent like the hard counters where, like, for example, if you are playing like Moira in Overwatch and then you have like a D.Va who just sucks up all of the balls that she throws out for damage and healing, all of a sudden Moira is not very good at all, right? So in that case, you'd probably pivot off of Moira into another hero or another healer hero that is not hard countered by D.Va, and then they're going to swap D.Va to that other tank that counters them. So you're just constantly going back and forth, and they wanted to fix that by giving you a fixed roster so you can't just do that constantly. I think that most likely leads to a situation where you see a meta build up around a select cabinet of heroes that are basically just difficult to counter. They might not be like the best heroes, but at the very least, there's not hard counters back and forth. Because if there's one really high risk, high reward hero that can be easily hard countered by another hero, there wouldn't be much sense in bringing them when there's the potential for a hard counter. So you'll just take kind of the most safe, solid choice. But some people are really excited for this. Some people think it's going to be revolutionary. There were some people that commented on that video that said they think that the weekly cutscenes and stuff they're going to do are going to be revolutionary, and that's going to be a new mainstay for games like this. I don't know, honestly, because so much of it just comes down to the writing. If the writing's really good, I think players will just be left wondering why they didn't get like a single player game with this roster of heroes. If the writing's so good that it really becomes a mainstay, people are just going to want a spin-off that focuses on that. But we'll see. I mean, I'm going to try the game when they do the beta previews or whatever here in a couple weeks or a week, whenever it is. And we'll try it. We'll try it here on stream and we'll get a feeling for it. I'll get some friends to hop on with me. We'll try to do it right. But that's one that some people have been pretty excited for. Not a ton of people, but there are some people that have come out of the woodwork and defended it, which is cool to see. I hope that it's really good. I would love for there to be another great game to give some competition with some of those other live service games, but it is such an uphill battle. It's pretty crazy. Now, the other one that you guys brought up is Frag Punk, and this is one that they've actually done some previews for. You can see Shroud apparently tried it. And in this, like, again, he's way more talented than I'll ever be at video games. But you can see he's doing all sorts of testing with characters, movement, stuff like that.
Like A, D, A, D, A, D. Oh, you can see them on the radar. Oh, damn, the radar is clean.
Yeah, you see the line of sight and everything.
The radar is real clean. Holy shit.
Radar.
What do my abilities even do?
So Frag Punk, if you're not familiar, this is the one they showed off during the Xbox showcase that had the like card system where you basically draw cards and then those affect everybody on the server, or everybody in the match rather, all at the same time. So the idea is that every match will be different because you'll draw different cards that have different effects. It could be one that makes everybody's head the size of a watermelon. It could be a card that adds grass, tall grass, through the entire maps. All of a sudden, maybe matches are much slower and more tactical with people hiding in the grass. All sorts of cool combinations and things that keep it fully dynamic. It's a novel idea that I think is really interesting. The general consensus I've seen about it is that it seems to be a wee bit clunky. Jesus. Oh, that was Timmy. That's that Apex player. That's funny. I'm guessing this was a... Yeah, I think this was a sponsored preview event. I don't think you get these guys in here unless it's sponsored, which no shade to sponsored preview events. Like, you're giving people a chance to try a game before anybody else and to share it with your audience. And in my opinion, more eyes on a game that's coming up, the better. I'm just down for that. Now, of course, if there's situations where like the streamer or content creator is not allowed to say whatever they want to say, then there's a problem. But it seems like this was just a chance to broadly try the game. It's just so tough with all of these games because they can look really good, but there's still just so many other games out there doing similar things. Dude, he's just so good. Why do I even try? You know, it's he's one of those gamers where it's just like, well, crap. Okay, I suck every time I see it. That's good to hear, CZ. So Shroud kept playing it after the sponsored segment as well. He enjoyed it. Well, and that's high praise, because when they sponsored that Suicide Squad stream, granted they only had a select period of time, but that was not a game they played at launch. Like, that was not a game that became part of their regular streaming schedule. It clearly didn't click with them, which is why doing these sponsored streams can be really high risk, high reward. Like, if you remember Apex back in I think it launched 2019, that was one where they paid a bunch of streamers to try the game because it just shadow dropped out of nowhere. And people loved it so much that all those streamers that were sponsored to play it for a few hours decided to keep playing it for the next week. And it became a staple. It became huge because the game was so good that it clicked with people, and those sponsored streams play into the seed that blossomed into this crazy thing. With Suicide Squad, it was the opposite, where they tried to plant a seed and then the capsule burst and it was just some sort of weird necrotic acid that devoured everything in its path. So people just ran away as quickly as they could. With this, it seems like they've also seen people get impressed by it and that like it. As for this, I think Frag Punk seems to be the most original and most interesting, and I think that will help. As for Concord, the difficult thing with it is that it's, you know, it's a $40 game. It's $40, and that works with a Helldivers 2, but I don't know if it works with something like this that's already seen as overly generic, you know. Maybe when the beta comes out and people just eat it up, maybe that's going to do it. But these types of games need streamers to move over to it. They need all of the fans of like regular Overwatch or like a Valorant or something like that. All of those people to come over and start eating it up. And I just don't know if this is enough. They have a lot of game modes, it seems. They have a pretty big roster of characters. But they have to hit this out of the freaking park for it to be successful. And we'll see. Like I said, we'll try it. I think it's early. Maybe it's late this week, early next week. Because I think the first one's on the 12th, right? So Friday. So I guess Friday we'll try it. We'll actually give it a chance. Maybe we'll open it up so like members or something can join the party. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know how we do that, but... Well, the original Overwatch, yeah, but I don't think you can compare 2015 to 2024 with live service games. It's a very different industry now. Like 2015, when the original Overwatch launched, that's pre-Fortnite, that's pre-Warzone, that's pre-PUBG. Like, that's before all of those games that changed how these games are priced and how all of this works. So I just don't think you can go back to that and compare them, because I think they're just frankly different. Concord seems off with the shooting. Well, I just get the vibe that I'm trying to see, like, Overwatch has gotten a lot of crap because the hitboxes are very forgiving. Like in Overwatch 2, I forget which hero it is, but one of the heroes, I think it's Tracer, her head hitbox is like this big around. Even though her head's tiny, the hitbox for actually landing a bullet on her head is huge. And people give them crap for that because they're like, it's not even competitive. Look, I can fire over her shoulder and it still hits her head. But the reason they do that is to try and make it more approachable, because when the hitboxes are so hyper accurate with a character that moves really fast, it can feel just frustrating. If anything, it can feel like your bullets should be hitting when they're not. That just comes with, you know, literal years of tweaking and balancing and shifting. So it might look ridiculous when you see it in isolation, but in gameplay, it works better. Yeah, Kiriko has the smallest hitbox in the game. Most pros aim for her waist. I believe that. And she's fast too. But with this, I'm kind of getting the vibe that this might be a situation where they're leaning more into tighter hitboxes, which some people are going to love. I'm trying to see here. Shot. Did that also hit him? Let's see. That was the shotgun blast that hit him. That was a shot. And then that one connects. But even that one, like, it's maybe it touches his shoulder, maybe. And then that one that connects also is like a shoulder shot. But with all these, I just get the feeling that Concord probably has a little bit tighter hitboxes, which will make it much more difficult and more competitive than like an Overwatch traditionally is. But does that mean it's more fun? I don't know. For some people, they're going to eat it up, no doubt. But because there's no doubt the guys that are making this know what they're doing. But the point of the conversation is just whether or not the concept makes sense. You know, like that's the big premise. Because I think some people get frustrated when we talk about games like this, and they're like, well, I think the gameplay looks really good. It's like it very well could look really good. It very well could be very good, you know, but that's a separate question as to whether this live service game ends up finding a lot of success, because those are two fundamentally different questions. A game can be good and still just not click with the broader public. Like even a game like Lawbreakers, I think connects with a lot of people in many ways, but I think that if you don't nail the various things you need to nail, it's just not going to work.